Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We get a lot of really interesting requests for these deep dives, but this one really kind of hit me because it's something that we all deal with in one way or another.
Yeah,
This whole idea of honoring our parents, I mean, it's one of those things, it feels like it's built into us, right? Like it's one of those fundamental things society kind of runs on.
it really is.
And yet it can be so simple and so incredibly complex all at the same time. And what's even more interesting is what you sent in, these excerpts, they really go beyond just like, be nice to your mom and dad, right? They suggest there might be something much bigger at play here.
There's real depth to it.
Yeah, like real consequences for how we live our lives, maybe even how long we live. And that's what we're going to deep dive into today.
That's right. We're going to be looking at what it really means to honor our parents, looking at what your sources say about it, and this fascinating link they make between honoring your parents and having a long and fulfilling life.
Yeah. It's a pretty bold claim, I gotta say. And the source material jumps right into it, leading with this verse from Exodus 20:12, the fifth commandment. It says, "Honor your father and mother so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you." So right off the bat, it's like, there you go. Honor equals a long life, potentially. What are your thoughts on that connection right out of the gate?
Well, I think it's interesting because I think it's so foundational. I mean, so much is built upon that.
Mm-hmm.
And as you dig deeper into the source material, it's clear that it's not just talking about blind obedience, right? Because that word honor, it has so many layers.
Absolutely.
It begs the question, what does it really mean to honor someone, especially your parents?
Yeah.
It's like there's this internal component as well. It's not just about what you do, but also how you think and feel.
It goes deeper. And the material you sent unpacks that beautifully. It talks about things like respect, right? Like truly seeing your parents as individuals with their own journeys and experiences. And then there's gratitude, recognizing everything they've done for us. The sacrifices, the care, all of it. And then it brings in this concept of forgiveness, and this is where it gets really interesting. It suggests that even when there's been hurt, even when things haven't been perfect, honor might actually involve forgiveness.
Yeah, it's a powerful idea. And I think to understand it better, we should step back and look at the bigger picture. In the Bible, family is portrayed as the foundation of a stable society. There's this emphasis on a certain order to things. It seems to suggest that when we honor those who raised us and cared for us, we're tapping into a natural order, a divine order even.
It's like we're aligning ourselves with something bigger than ourselves, right?
Right, exactly.
And it's not just Exodus that touches on this. The source material you sent also points to Ephesians 6.23, which basically reiterates the commandment, but adds this really intriguing detail. It calls it the first commandment with a promise. It says, so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on the earth. I mean, to call it the first commandment with a promise, that kind of sets it apart, doesn't it? It's not just a suggestion anymore. It's like there's a potential reward attached to it.
You're exactly right. It elevates it. And the source material really emphasizes this, pointing out that it's framed as a promise. It's something you can actively look for in your own life.
It's food for thought.
Yeah.
Does it work like a guarantee or is there something deeper going on?
Right.
And this brings us to a point that, it's tough to talk about, but the source material doesn't shy away from it. Honoring your parents can be really hard. I mean, let's be honest, not every family is perfect.
We've done that.
A lot of us have been hurt. We have complicated family histories. Some relationships are strained or even broken. So how does this whole idea of honoring your parents apply in those situations, in those tough cases?
Well, this is where that concept of forgiveness that we were talking about earlier becomes super important. The source material brings in a really interesting teaching from Jesus. It's in Matthew 5.44, and it says, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. So at first glance, that seems to be about, how we deal with our enemies, the people who are against us.
Right.
But I think it has something really profound to say about our relationships with our parents, especially when there's been pain and hurt involved. I mean, if we're called to love and pray for our enemies, what does that suggest about the potential for healing and reconciliation within our own families?
That's a huge point, right? Like maybe holding on to that anger and resentment is actually preventing us from experiencing the fullness of what this commandment promises.
Exactly. It's like it creates this internal disharmony. Maybe holding on to negativity toward your parents is actually blocking those blessings.
Yeah.
There's this idea in the source material that it's not just about the external actions, but also about what's happening inside of us.
Right. It's about our internal state, our hearts.
Yes. And this ties into something else. The source material highlights the benefits of honoring your parents. And it's not just one-sided. It's not just about the parents receiving honor, but also about the positive impact it has on the person who is doing the honoring.
So both sides benefit. That's interesting.
It is. The source material mentions that the act of honoring, even when it's difficult, can help us develop certain character traits. Qualities like humility, for example, recognizing that we are part of a lineage, that we didn't just appear out of thin air.
You are who you are because of them.
Exactly. And gratitude, being thankful for the gift of life and all the ways our parents have supported us. And it can also cultivate a sense of dependence on something bigger than ourselves.
That's a sense of belonging, maybe?
Yeah. It's like acknowledging our roots, even if those roots are tangled and messy. It grounds us. And it ties into another verse from the source material, Proverbs 3:1-2. It says, "My son, do not forget my teaching, but keep my commands in your heart, for they will prolong your life many years and bring you peace and prosperity."
So this time, it's not just about living longer, but about the quality of that life.
You got it. The peace and prosperity that come from living in accordance with these principles. The source material suggests that it's not just about adding years to your life, but adding life to your years.
It's about a life that is more integrated, more whole, more fulfilled. And the source material hints that this promised long life could even include healing within families, bringing a sense of unity that would contribute to everyone's well-being.
It's a beautiful thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just quantity, but quality.
It's not about reaching some arbitrary number, but about how you live those years. And this really gets to the heart of what the source material is trying to say, this idea that this commandment is more than a rule. It's an invitation to experience God's promise in your life. That's a powerful statement.
It changes everything, doesn't it? It takes something that could feel like an obligation, maybe even a burden, and turns it into an opportunity, a chance to experience something truly meaningful.
It really does. So, to sum up what we've learned from this deep dive into your source material, honoring your parents is not just about surface level actions, it's about going deeper. It's about cultivating respect, expressing gratitude, and being willing to forgive even when it's hard. And what's really fascinating is this potential connection, this promise that by doing these things, by truly honoring our parents, we open ourselves up to a life that is not just long, but also deeply fulfilling, a life that's aligned with these foundational biblical principles about family and society.
You put it perfectly. It's about internal transformation as much as it is about external actions. And the source material seems to suggest that these internal changes can lead to some pretty amazing external blessings, both for ourselves and for our families. It really makes you think.
It really does. And that brings us to the most important part of this whole deep dive. Now that we've explored this idea together, what about you? What can you do with this information? How can you apply it to your own life?
That's the key question, isn't it? What's one small step you can take today that reflects this invitation to honor your parents? Maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's offering forgiveness for something that happened in the past, maybe it's simply a change in your attitude and how you view your relationship with your parents.
Exactly. It's about taking this knowledge and turning it into action, into something real. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters, isn't it? How we live our lives, how we treat the people closest to us. And, you know, I think this deep dive has given us all a lot to think about. So thank you for bringing this topic to us. It's been a truly fascinating conversation.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure diving deep with you.
And to everyone listening, we hope you take these ideas and continue exploring them, see where they lead you. Until next time, happy deep diving.